Congress back on Capitol Hill after the government shutdown, and voters nationwide have some thoughts as the attention turns to the midterms, now less than a year out.
It's all in a new nationwide Marquette Law School poll conducted by poll director Charles Franklin, who joins us now. Charles, good to see you.
Good to be here.
Let's start with the economy. There's a lot of talk of that coming both from Capitol Hill and the White House. Inflation, cost of living, the economy, by far the top issues voters are saying. Right now, 36% of Americans say they approve of the president's handling of the economy. Is this a concern for Republicans headed into the midterms now?
Oh, absolutely. And you saw that reflected in the recent gubernatorial elections in New Jersey and Virginia, where we have exit polls that show the economy number one there. The president's approval on handling inflation is down in the 20s, even below the economy as a whole. And as you say, inflation number one and economy number two, together those make up 56% who say those are the two most important problems.
Charles, we're just days away from Thanksgiving. Grocery stores this weekend packed. They will be this week as well. Your polling shows some stark partisan differences on how people are viewing grocery prices. 56% of Republicans say they've gone up compared to 82% of independents, 92% of Democrats. What do these numbers tell us?
Well, first of all, that the obvious thing is people go to the grocery store and they feel like they're paying more. There is a partisan divide there. 21% of Republicans said prices had actually gone down at the grocery store. Maybe we should shop where they're shopping. But I think it also reflects how much partisanship distorts our views of things even as close to home as grocery prices. Because honestly, Republicans and Democrats aren't shopping in dramatically different supermarkets. It's that one group sees price increases and translates that into the political realm. The other tends to downplay it. Still, with over 50% of Republicans saying prices are up, this is reflecting the problem even within the Republican Party about perceptions of inflation and the economy.
Charles, grocery prices have become a staple of campaign talking points. Is this symbolic? Is it a good indicator of where the economy is and perhaps more importantly, where voters think the economy is?
Yeah, I think it's more how voters think the economy is. I mean, certainly we like objective measures of inflation rather than just asking people how they feel about it. But across 4 or 5 different questions we ask about inflation, more people now say inflation will increase over the next 12 months than did a few months ago. More people say that the president's policies will drive up inflation, and that's really changed. Right after he was elected, 40-some-odd% thought he would lower inflation. That's down to about 20% now that think he'll lower inflation.
Charles Franklin, director of the Marquette Law School poll. Charles, like always, thank you.
Thank you.
Up next, the treason round.